The Survivors of Ashcaleen.
Welcome back, beautiful nerds, to The Survivors of Ashcaleen, an actual play Dungeons & Dragons game that originally started as a one-shot and evolved into what we have today, a mini-series following some, dare I say, lovable antiheroes as they traverse the world of Odromia after the fall of the capital city of the Kingdom of Nimrion. But who better to introduce themselves than our wonderful cast, starting with Matt.
Hello there. Matt is the name, also go by War-Torn Knight on the interwebs. I am playing Jal Hord'n, the Genie Dao Pact Warlock.
Taylor.
Hi, I'm Taylor. You can find me at Virus05 on TikTok and other socials. And I'm playing Neska, a... what did you want to? Wave Mercy Monk.
Sorry, didn't get that last part.
My name is Victor. You can find me on TikTok as Victor_the Story Weaver, and I am playing Ivar the Forsaken, formerly known as Ivar the Banisher, and I don't think he's happy to be anywhere where he is right now. But I am.
Victor.
Okay. And of course, as always, I am your friendly neighborhood dungeon master, Andy, aka Mr.DanDyDM on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and on all the other socials. If you happen to come across this episode and you enjoy it, please consider going back and watching the other episodes to see how we got here. And now that we have got our introductions out of the way, let us continue with our tale of the survivors of Ashcaleen. Sweat. Lots and lots of sweat. Ivar, you're lying on the floor of this apartment suite on one of the city ships, the Dwarven city ships. Around you are all of your companions, friends, maybe? At this point, you have done battle with a portion of yourself, and based off of what we encountered last session, it would seem like you lost in a big way. Currently, you have been stripped of something that was inside you. Or was it in the sword that you carried? This stripping, of course, is thanks to Jal Hord'n, who has trapped your sword, the talking sword, within his ring that was a gift from the being that gives him power. Jal, the ring is noticeably heavier as you have now taken it up off of the floor. Neska, I made special note that you were feeling a certain kind of way at the end, not my end, but the end that you wanted to see have happen at the end of last session, when I allowed you to roll, I guess sort of an insight check, was it? To see, you were trying to see how Yanshu felt about your current position in sort of, not lying, but kneeling, tending to Ivar. And sort of all of the things, especially since you might be a little bit in your feels about Yanshu, not entirely sure yet, but you ended up rolling a 23, and we did say that you would find out the result of that 23. And I'm going to say it's going to happen in a little bit. We'll get there in a second.
You tease.
Ivar, you have just the distinct impression of just, you feel like you have just let go of all of the water in your body, as you feel like incredibly hot in this moment, feverish. You have contracted Ebola, and it is burning itself out of you. And at this point, Gata Smeltmaster, the Dwarven Arcanist, is dabbing your head with a damp cloth, seeing that you come to as your eyes have fluttered open, as you have just emerged from a series of nightmares / visions of your journey of not only self-discovery, but a journey of faith and belief that led you to the city of Ashcaleen which you have since left behind. What do you do?
I think that Ivar comes to with a gasp, as if he was just drowning, and you see his gaze sort of stare into the distance, and his breathing is labored. There is that sound that breath does when you're shivering, and you're trying to keep yourself still. His body is not still, even if you want it to. The chills and heat, the feverish state of his body is keeping him in this constant trembling. But his eyes are the opposite of that intense reaction. His eyes look dull. His eyes look glassy. They look as if the spark and fire that you knew him to have when facing everything with that faith and that power is not there. There's actually, you could raise the question, what is left there available right now to reach, if anything at all? There is mumbling and muttering that seems to be like a prayer or a delirium. It's hard to tell, but you can tell that he's not aware of where he is or the people around him.
Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, started great. That's a 2 plus 8. That's a 10.
All right. As you are on the ground in this state, Gata is looking down at you and she's like, "Oh, dearie. Oh, goodness gracious, you." And her hand is just like nervously shaking. This is the emotions and the state of this dwarven woman who was not expecting to have to fight anyone today. It was not, she thought she was just coming here for a regular binding job, and that was it. There was nothing else to it, and she was gonna be here for maybe 5 minutes, say her hellos, and just get the fuck out. And that did not happen. At this point, Rihanna has emerged fully from the bathroom in sort of like putting herself together. She comes up to you, Jal, and she's, "Is he okay? What happened?"
Jal has been focused on Ivar this entire time, and it's not until Rihanna says something directly to him that he kind of snaps for a moment, looks like acknowledges her, but then goes back to watching Ivar and just goes, "Well, he's alive, I think, if that's what you mean, but oh, I don't know if all right is the term that I'd use to describe it."
What are we going to do? You just assaulted an arcanist. I guess I don't know what they are called. They're an arcanist, right?
We'll figure. Yeah, we'll figure that. It's all right. Yeah, it'll just be fine. Don't worry. Just
Am I going to be able to get home?
You'll be fine. You didn't commit a crime. Yeah, Ivar did all of it. Yeah. Let's blame the guy who can't talk right now. That's the plan. That's the play.
Nesca, as you are hearing sort of this sort of muttered conversation, and also the muttering of the broken prayer that Ivar is uttering in this moment, and you also sort of hear the ministrations of Gata as she's trying to like gently coax some more life back into Ivar, or at least bring his temperature down. You notice Yanshu, who's standing on the opposite side behind Jal, and you see him because you are holding Ivar's hand, and you're just sort of rubbing. You just realize that you're rubbing his hand, just sort of like you're trying to will him back to what he was in this sort of like almost not a fugue state, but you're in a sort of a little bit of shock. You see Yanshu, and he is staring directly at you. And on a 23, every look that he is giving you right now is one of concern and uncertainty as to how best to help in this situation, as he is very much one who takes life very skillfully, but is not necessarily one to bring it back and to heal it. You sort of, given your background as somebody who is very good at reading people, you sort of see all of these emotions just sort of flicker across Yanshu's face.
I will stop rubbing Ivar's hand, gently put it across his chest, and then go to, is it Gita?
Gata, yeah.
Gata. Oops, so close. Gata and Joel, and just be like, get him into one of the rooms. Put him on the bed. Make him comfortable.
Okay. Gata like motions to you, Joel, like, come and help me, lad. We need to get him up and onto the bed.
John will roll his eyes, be like, "Oh, he almost kills us, and we got to make him comfortable." No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. By the way, don't worry about me. It's fine.
I'll get to you in a moment.
Hoist him up.
You were able to help Ivar over to the bed. You make him comfortable. He is still half muttering, half sort of like fading. It's almost like in one moment he recognizes that he is fully in this plane of existence, and then it's like suddenly flashes of something will divert his attention elsewhere. At this point, after helping you put Ivar down in the bed, Gata says, "I'm terribly sorry to have to do this, but you lot have left me no choice. I have to go tell somebody right now. I can't. You're supposed to be talking with the Queen, and it's not good."
Nobody really plans for a psychotic break to happen in the middle of negotiations and stuff like this. Obviously, somebody should really have. No, nobody's going to have any kind of pity. Yeah, this is really a tough spot, eh, Gata? Yeah, let's talk about it though. Let's take a seat. Let's just kind of mellow out for a second.
I don't see what's to be gained by taking a. I have to go tell at least. I have to go tell my superiors about this, and who's to say what? I mean, I don't know if you're going to be able to meet with the Queen about your current predicament.
If we're really trying to go about like orders from superiors and stuff like that, they ordered you to make sure that he couldn't use his weapon. His weapon is now unable to be used. That's a job well done on your part, isn't it?
Give me a persuasion check.
I love that all of this is happening, and I'm just as the player, I'm like, let's see what you guys do.
My dice is already done with my shit. That's a 10.
There is not a chance in all the 9 hells that Gata was just going to walk and say, I just was assaulted. It's no big deal.
Mission accomplished, boss. Everything's A-okay.
That's all in the day's work as a dwarven arcanist. You just get assaulted every single day by just anyone you happen to pick up out of the ocean.
Right? It seems legit. I'd believe her.
Can I hear this?
Oh no, you're right there in the room. So yes.
Oh yeah, beautiful. I'll just, if I may, gently take her by the shoulder and steer her out of the room for a moment. And I'm so sorry that you went through this. Like Giles said, we've been through a few rough situations. I suggest we just take a deep breath and calm down. It was just a psychotic break. We needed time to recover. And I cast suggestion on her.
What is the spell save DC for that?
It's a wisdom 13.
Oh,
it's a 13. No. I'm just confirming it's a 13.
Oh!
I hadn't rolled anything yet. Good God, sorry. I didn't mean to give you a heart attack.
You can't keep doing this to Taylor, Andy.
I'm sorry. It is not intentional. My bad. Okay.
And that's the end of this session. Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
And we'll find
It's a
out
wisdom
what the
13.
result of her roll was next time. Okay, so it is a DC 13. Correct me if I'm wrong. Suggestion: if they succeed, they know that someone was trying to suggest something to them.
You suggest,
Or is
you
it
can't be
after the
charmed.
effect of the spell has worn off, they know that they were?
No, they don't. The suggestion must be what in such a manner to cause this effect, asking a creature to.
Really quick,
What?
pop the spell into the Discord just so I can have it.
Sorry, it didn't copy. Oh my god. Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
Taylor's
Here we
just
go.
building tension. That's all this is.
Yeah.
Just a question. I don't know how relevant it'll be, but would Jal or Nesca be familiar with like Kalashtar in regards of like the
Would
things
Jal
that
or who?
like
Jal?
Jal or Nesca know the intricacies of
No.
being a Kalashtar? Okay.
Jal has an intelligence of 8. I'm saying no.
Nesca has a higher intelligence than that, and I'm still saying, but for different reasons. Like, Yuan-Ti society in the Peshian wildlands is very reclusive, so they would not necessarily know the ins and outs of Kalashtar. They may know that they exist, but that is pretty much it. And then with Jal, innate intelligence. Need I say more? He's been a part of the Red Guard for a good portion of his life, and he sees what he sees in the cities, but hasn't really done much beyond that. All right, this is an opposed, or this is the wisdom save. That is a 6
plus 12. She passes.
No. Plus 4, so it's a 10. So she
fails.
She fails.
Clutch.
Panic.
So what is the suggestion? Because you cast the suggestion after you said what you said. So what is the actual thing?
I cast it during my speech. I was like, I suggest you calm down, take a breath, like let's think this over. We've been through some stuff, like let us just recover.
You see, at this point, because of the suggestion and sort of the effect that it takes hold immediately on Gata, it's like suddenly she unclenches and she wipes her brow and she realizes, oh, I'm a mite sweaty. Oh, my goodness. That one, he is handsome, but he'll be the death of you. Oh, my goodness. He travels with you lot. You lot are very brave. Oh, I gotta sit down. And so she makes her way over to a chair by the table with all the meats and cheeses on it. And she just sort of plops herself down and she's like, oh, give me a tick here.
Take all the time you need.
All right. Oh. And you see it's just her sort of just visibly just relax. Breathing, it just sort of returns to normal. Huh. Well, you know what? This whole ordeal has made me rather thirsty and hungry. And I think I need to go and get some lunch. So I'll send one of my superiors over here. The sword is gone, so I don't really need to worry about it, right? He has it in the thing, which is
oh yeah, lock and key. Good to go. Locked up.
okay. You can see her sort of the wheels turning, like, how much is this going to bite me in the ass kind of thinking. And she's just like, I'll send one of my superiors over to collect you when it is time for your audience with Queen Fari Flintmace, and I bid you adieu. And she walks out of the apartment and is gone.
Jal would walk her out, just, stick his head out. Oh, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your service. No problem. Bye-bye. Click and turn around, lean up against the door, do that big sigh. Just like, all right, so last time you pulled that stunt, eventually our buddy taking a nap in the other room did realize what happened. So I reckon that we just started a timer before she goes and blows us in entirely. So let's start cleaning up. Number one. Number two, let's figure out what the hell we're going to do. Because yeah, somebody's not going to be happy about this whole ordeal. And I'm going to be one of those people.
I'm already one of those people. What was that?
Um, I mean, he started to go nuts and seemed to be coming from the evil sword. So I shot the sword out of his hand, and now it's here. I'm kind of worried about that, but I can't exactly do anything about it at the moment because he's still here and in that state. So right now it's kind of, hey, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it kind of deal. It's, that thing that is, that problem that is in your life that you just sweep under the rug and you're like, I'll get to it later when I have money for therapy, mom. And then you'll just deal with it eventually. But right now it's a way you don't look at it and it's not a problem.
You're talking about post-traumatic stress syndrome or disorder, right? That's what that
Uh,
is. That's Yonshu.
It's something. One of them. Yeah. I mean,
Sorry, Yonshu's still here.
stress,
Sorry,
trauma. I don't have those.
I did not mean to
I don't have time for
intrude.
those.
I just happened to hear your conversation, and I just wanted to impart some of my own. And he sort of just trails off as he realizes that he's made it awkward.
For the whole time.
Is he looking hurt?
That. Yeah. Was he? I don't.
He is. No, not really.
Right.
He didn't take a lot of damage from Ivar. But no, he's looking okay.
Okay. I will turn to Joel. Be like, I will talk to you in a moment.
Oh, no worries. It's like not like we're on a time limit or anything like that. No, that's fine.
Is it a constant?
No, it's not concentration.
No, it is.
Oh, it is?
It is. Mine is.
Oh. Don't stub your toe.
Yeah, no, mine's concentration.
Don't break it now.
You are gone with Yanshu. Don't do anything that's gonna break your concentration.
I have a better understanding of my magic since I last used this spell. I'll be okay. A moment, please. And I'm going to continue on to Yonshu. Even though he's not physically hurt, I know that he is concerned and confused. Ivar threatened you. Are you okay?
I'll be fine. You've got a lot on your plate right now. I don't need you to be worried about me. I'm just concerned about our next steps. Where do we find ourselves? Right now, we are walled in. We've got our backs to the wall. We don't know what our next course of action will be. Are we bringing this girl back to across the seas? Or are we looking just for the next opportunity to jump ship and hopefully make our way of it somewhere?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, just worried about you. The other two, I mean, they can take care of themselves, but just want to make sure that we get out of this okay.
I do worry for you as well. I may not say it. I don't know how, but I do.
Hey, I'll take it. I know our people don't really do feelings that much, but we've been, at least you and I, we've had a lot of them trained out of us at this point to make us more effective. But right now we only have ourselves to rely on in this situation, and I worry about being amidst all of these dwarves given our past history with this people. And the fact that we're going to be meeting potentially one of their monarchs. I really hope that they can overlook our past history, brief and violent though it was.
We were not there for that.
No, we're not. But dwarves have a long memory.
Keep your mask on. We can get away with dragonborn descendants for a while.
Kobold cousins with sort of a smirk. No, I will keep my mask on for everyone except for you.
Thank you. We look out for each other, yes?
Absolutely.
Confused, she walks away.
Ivar, you're lying on the bed, and you fully come to in this moment. Gata's tending you feel cooler. You feel still like it feels like you are coming off of a very bad fever. You sort of feel like the worst hangover you've ever felt in your entire life. You come to, look around, you see Rihanna. Rihanna is in the room with you, just sort of looking at you, just with a concerned expression on her face. But you are present. You are here.
Ivar probably still has his armor on.
Yes.
Which, when he wakes up, even though he's here and he sees Rihanna, his face still doesn't show any sort of like acknowledgement or recognition or familiarity. There's just this sort of stoic thing happening, and he just rolls to the bed and falls to the ground next to the bed. Probably a loud fall because he's wearing plate armor, and he just,
you all hear this clatter as he falls out of the bed.
And he's just breathe, and he starts taking off his armor, taking it off, just like throwing it, and until he's just wearing, the pants underneath, the plates and the shin, and this like shirt that it's silk with because of the sweat, and he just throws that whole armor, and one arm is on the bed. He's just looking around, and
so quiet. Empty. So empty. Where have they gone?
And he's just stumbling. He pushes himself up, and he starts just moving around the room aimlessly. He just seems to be stumbling, and it seems like he's going to a table to grab something, and then halfway he sort of pauses and drops something, and he moves to the other side. He looks at Rihanna for a moment, and it has a moment of view. No. And he's just moving around, making a mess of the room. Like, he's just moving stuff, stumbling things. He pauses, keeps going. It's a mess.
Ivar, are you? Everyone, he's up. Rihanna calls everyone in.
Jal would enter, and seeing that Ivar is up, just the hand that's wearing the ring goes right into a pocket, and he's just like, "Hey, how you feeling there, buddy? What's going? No, I just picked that up. Don't. No, it's fine. It's cool. Yeah, just break. You're not at home. Just break everything here. Why? It's not yours. Why not? It's okay. Yeah, you do you. And you're shirtless now. Yeah, too bad. Gate is not here anymore.
No, he's still wearing the shirt.
Oh,
it's
okay.
soaked.
Right.
It's soaked, but still wearing.
It's slicked and see through to his body.
Contest.
Yeah, would still appreciate
nipping out.
Ivar notices you, Jal.
I bet he does.
And the stumbling stops.
Uh-oh.
His body goes still, and his eyes lock eyes with you.
Don't do it, buddy.
What did you do to me?
I what did I do?
What did you do to me? And he's just gonna launch at Jal.
Duck, dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Duck and weave.
Oh.
So that is a grapple check.
Yeah.
Please give me your roll, and then we'll do an opposed grapple.
So what do I roll? Athletics, or
hold on one second?
Is that what I roll?
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah, it's usually athletics. It's a contested athletics check.
Yeah.
Well, the grappler has to roll athletics. The grapplee has their choice between athletics and acrobatics.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't too great, though. It was a 13.
Okay, I have a chance. I do have a +4 to this because for some odd reason, Jal is proficient in athletics. That's a 22. So, yeah. You just kind of lunge at him, and he just, forearm blocks, you to the side, just lets it kind of go and uses that moment to take a few steps back and just goes, all right, now calm down. Listen, I know this is going to be weird for you. Yeah, you know what? We ain't sugarcoating anything. You were fucked up, man. You had something fucked up in your hand and you tried to damn near kill everybody in this room, and I stopped it. All right? That's what I did. I made sure that you didn't kill people because that's what you were going to do. You were all creepy. You were going into your final form with all the blackness and all the stuff like that. And no, what did I do? Yeah, I shot you in the face. I took your toy, and now it's put away until your attitude improves.
Jal, as you deftly move the attack to the side, Ivar, you stumble in this moment, and you fall to your knees, and you like brace yourself with your hand on the table. Jal and Nesca, you notice how, at least in this moment, Ivar seems old. Like this robust, seemingly ageless warrior suddenly has transformed in front of you, and suddenly he seems to be twice the age, and he seems to be losing not only his physical ability and his stamina in this moment, but also his mental faculties.
What do
You go ahead.
Nesca's gonna tentatively creep in. She has a defensive stance. She's not being aggressive. She's taking the dodge action. What happened?
You see that after the stumble and the fall, the thing that brings Ivar back to a stillness is when Jal mentions darkness, suggesting that there was darkness emanating from Ivar. And his eyes are on Jal as he hears this. And he looks away, and you guys can see something is dawning on him.
Oh, accursed time. The betrayal that I have given you. Oh, no. No, 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 no. No. No.
He becomes so small on the floor.
What have I done? Oh, forsaken.
And now we're in the manic laughter. Yep. All right. Yeah, yes. He looks over at Nesca and just goes, You see this? You see this? You see what we're dealing with here? Come on.
What do you want me to do?
I don't know. You hit people really hard. Maybe you can put something back together.
Sure. And I will place a steadying hand on Ivar's shoulder, and I will spend a key point to do Hand of Healing.
Really thought you were just about to deck him right in the forehead.
She thought about it.
I was going to be like, wait, no.
If you accept it, it's 8 points of healing.
Do you see that Ivar, you place your hand on his shoulder and he doesn't even seem to acknowledge it. Like you do it. He doesn't react to it. He feels you managed to heal him, but he's just looking out.
I do not know how long I've been lost. Have I been lost?
What is the last thing you remember? Clearly.
I remember it all. Although now there are things missing, but not from today. From before. Things I should have never forgotten. And somehow I thought I hadn't. And now I realize I had just forgotten to look over and see that a cloud was in my memory. There is so much I don't remember. So much.
He just trails off.
Yanshu goes to Nesca and Jal, says, What do we do with him? He's clearly not all there. We're going to be called before a queen very shortly. What's the play? What are we doing? You can tell that Yanshu is starting to get very nervous.
Well, what I'd like to do is leave him in the room so that one of us could go and talk to her, but I don't think that they're going to let that happen. Everybody or nobody.
Yes, well, in the last several days, how many times have we gotten what we want?
Oh, that, I mean, hey, say less. All right.
We got to survive.
All right. Let's back up for a second here because we got to figure out a lot of things, but let's just go with what we can handle. And Jaw's going to kind of like squat down, his elbows on his knees, looking at Ivar. And he's just going to look at him and be like, what is it? Don't beat around the bush with this I don't remember stuff. You remember this. You remember what was talking to you. You remember what is still trying to crawl out of here to get to you. So what is it?
Are you showing him the ring?
Yep.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Streaming though.
At first, when you keep asking, Ivar is sort of slightly shaking his head. Not what I thought, not what I thought, not what I thought. And then when you mention and you show the ring and put the hand in front of him, once again, he goes still, looking at the ring and then looking at you.
I do not know where the voice, what the voice is. Whatever I thought it to be, I'm in the darkness.
And you see that while he's been saying that, almost as if without realizing, one of his hands has slowly been raising and slightly trying to get to the ring. It doesn't even look like he's doing it. It's almost like his body inadvertently, like his hand is just trying to get to it.
Jaw's still going to be like looking eye to eye as he says that. He just goes, you know something. This thing's been in your head. You put your hand down, smacks at your hand. This thing's been in your head for I don't know how long. You know something about it. All right. And I can't help you unless I said put your hand down. I can't help you unless you help me.
Joel holds his own hands and leans back, his head against the wall, looking at the group.
I beg your forgiveness, all of you.
He looks at the ring.
I am afraid I was greeted by demons where I thought gods could be found.
Demons and devils can be gods.
So it made me believe.
But you are free now?
I don't think free is the word. And as the conversation's happening, Jaw's just going to move the ring around. And I'm assuming that Ivar's eyes follow it the entire time.
You see there's a struggle. Like he will be looking away, and when you make motion with the hand, his eyes sort of like dart at it again and dart at it again and dart at it again. It's almost like he's like, in case he sees a motion or opportunity. So there's something, there's a pull.
And with that, Jaw's just going to shake his head and go, this is why I don't go to church, and stand up and start walking towards the door.
Oh my God. Ivar, can you get up?
Yes.
And he just slowly, just pressing his body against the wall, he just slides himself up.
Yanshu at this point comes and like takes your elbow of your left arm and he just comes up under you and tries to levy you up and give you support. He's like,
He allows it.
perhaps some fresh sea air will do you good.
And then
Sure.
food and water.
When we have food and we have water, Neska, would you be so kind as grab the food and water, and I'll take him out to the platform outside the apartment, and he can get a better, and get him reconstitute himself in some way.
Yes.
As Neska is doing that, Yanshu is going to bring you out through the main door, out onto the platform where you first arrived on the tram. When you first got to, or the elevator tram, when you first arrived at this apartment. He brings you out to the platform where the air in the apartment felt incredibly, for you, Ivar, incredibly close and suffocating and made you slightly claustrophobic. The immense openness of the ocean and the height from which you're viewing it, suddenly it's like a boon from the gods. It suddenly fills your lungs, and you gain some sense of vigor back within your body. And you're sort of able to sort of like muster yourself and straighten yourself up a little bit, still slightly supported by Yanshu, holding your left arm sort of and giving support on your shoulder. But you're taking in just gobs of air, just trying to breathe as much as possible.
Yeah. You can see that Yanshu probably notices that with those deep breaths, while his expression doesn't seem to be shifting much from that sort of gone expression, a tear falls down from one of his eyes, as if involuntarily. And he pushes himself away from, like, just gently releases Yanshu just so he can stand on his own and look around, look at the vastness of the ocean.
Do with me what you will.
And he just nods to Yanshu.
Thank you.
Yanshu just gives you a nod. Ivar, give me a perception check.
Wow, my rolls today are great. That's a nat 1.
As you take your first couple unsupported steps, feel your legs slightly give, but you steady yourself as you reach as you approach the railing. You place your hand out on the railing, and suddenly you feel your legs slightly give out, and you just feel this immense aching emptiness within you. You do not feel whole in this moment. You feel like half of you is gone.
I mean, Ivar's just he stays there. His hands grip on that railing, and there's ache in his face. He feels lost, but at the same time, I think he's also sensing the dread of the so many things that are rushing through his head right now, and what that may entail. There's a lot rushing through his head, and he doesn't fully understand what will become of him.
Yanshu comes and stands next to you, Ivar. He places his hand on your shoulder again. Listen, I say this with all respect. You are amongst my people. You would be considered an elder, someone with wisdom. What happened? What happened with you? Why are you lost?
Ivar has a long pause.
I only ask this because in my line of work, we're big fans of timelines. We like to know where we've been, and so that we know where we're going. For me, I need to know exactly who I'm killing, so that I know what the effect will be after they're gone. With Eska, she needs to know the history of certain things, so she gets the lay of the land, so she knows how to give direction and give guidance. What were you doing before we crossed our paths with you?
Atoning for the loss of many who followed, many who fell.
You're kind of muddled right now, but I really don't have time for riddles. You're
He
speaking
looks-
very poetically right now about what I feel are horrible things that have happened to you.
He turns to Yanshu, and now that he's facing Yanshu, you can see that he's struggling to keep himself from breaking, but tears are not flowing. As he just says,
I cannot remember much of what's lost has been kept from me, and I do not know how to find it. I do not have an answer, Yanshu, because I do not know. I thought I did. I don't.
That leads me to believe that the loss of your weapon is more significant than you are letting on. Something about the blade itself was a part of you, yes?
Yes, something rotten, something that I do not know how it started. That is what scares me. That darkness came and just pretended to be something else. But I do not know when it began, or if it ever, what if it's always been there? Everything I did was cursed. I need to remember. I must.
You think that if you were reunited with your blade, that you might be able to try and remember?
The power within the blade is what's keeping me from remembering. If I am to remember, I need to reclaim it.
Okay. I hope you get a chance, because looks like our time might be up. He says that with like a degree of unease. He points down along the tram. There is or along the tram line, there's another tram that is coming up as it starts elevating up towards the apartment. Neska? Jal, we need to figure something out right now. What are we going to do?
Have they come back inside?
No, they're still out. They're still out. Like he's alerting you from the patio.
Oh, from down.
So like the exit. So from the apartment, it goes out onto the platform that leads to where the elevator is going to come up. It's an open area.
I thought you guys had gone like left and down.
I'm gonna say that Ivar, as he's calling out to Neska, Ivar moves really close to Yanshu and whispers to him, "If you must forsake me, if you must denounce me, do what you must. Do not let all of you fall because of what I've done. And if I fall, make sure that Jaw gets rid of that thing."
Not entirely certain, but I think my friend may have taken care of that part. Don't think anyone else except for Geda will know about what occurred here. I think for all intents and purposes, when we go before this Dwarven Queen, we go as sad guests, not potential adversaries. Neska? He calls to you.
Yes?
I saw you do something with Geda. What did you do?
I suggested that she calm down and look at things from our perspective. We have been through a lot.
So she's not going to tip anyone off about the fact that something, and he looks at Ivar, something dark and malevolent possibly happened here?
I have no control over what Gita says, but she will consider our words.
That's about as good as it's going to get then. At this point, the elevator has arrived at the top of the platform. Yanshu looks you in the eye, Ivar, says, "I do not know what the future holds, but if we get the chance to give you some sort of favor, some sort of rescue, we will do our best."
Ivar just pats his shoulder. "Do not concern too much for those who are half dead." And then he just turns to look at the elevator.
The elevator. Stepping out of the elevator, you see your old buddy, Zagain Hammermail, and another dwarf, actually several dwarves, all in either very ornate, looks to be kind of ceremonial armor, indicating that they are of a higher station than just regular guards. You see Zagain approach Ivar, looks at you, sees there's something different. "Got a little bit uncomfortable in your plate mail, eh? Well, yeah, that's to be expected. The Queen should have an audience with you. Let's go."
Jal is going to give Ivar a look, and if this look could speak common, that look would say, "Are you going to be able to hold your shit together?"
You see, Ivar just gives you a slight nod. His expression seems somber, but sober.
Jal kind of shakes his head, gives a little bit of a shrug, and just goes, "Well, no more use talking about it. Let's go get it over with."
So you are all entering the tram. As you enter the tram, you the dwarves are all sort of around you. You can sort of see that they've taken up positions so that you are very much surrounded, enclosed within the tram. Zigane says, so we talked to Gata, so the sword doesn't seem to be a problem anymore, which is good. I'm going to tell you that you probably want to be very direct when you address the queen. I would say that, in your case, probably want to put together a very convincing story for why you are where you were. Considering that, these lanes of travel are very much for pirates and the like. So I really hope you have a very good, convincing story for why you're out there.
You mean she won't believe just Feywild bullshit? Anything like that? No, no. All right, I'll think of something else.
Oh, what do you mean the Feywild?
I'm just joking with you. You said convincing story like we were gonna lie or something. We're not gonna lie. We're just gonna tell her what happened.
His eyes narrow at you.
You getting a little tight in your plate mail there, buddy?
I'll be watching you, Greenie.
Wazowski.
I'm watching you, Greenie.
Stop all production now. It's not gonna get better than this. This is our peak. And he says he's gonna be watching me, Greenie, and Joel's just gonna give him a wink flirtatiously.
It's going to sees the wink. It throws him off for a slight second, and then he remembers himself. Rockin' humans.
Joel's gonna lean over to Yanshu and be like, he digs me.
The tram jolts as it starts its descent down to the main track, moving fairly swiftly. You all sort of like reach over to the side and sort of steady yourselves as you begin to descend. You eventually make your way onto the main track, and the other trams that are around you are all sort of diverted along the same route, but different paths, as you have been given a direct path. It's like when the president comes in at the airport, or I don't know what the prime minister, he arrives at an airport and suddenly they clear all traffic. So, they get directly to the White House / Sydney Opera House. I don't know where.
That's where it is. That's
and so it suddenly you are moving very swiftly down this main track. You do see many of the dwarves have sort of come out since whenever this sort of happens. It's important. Something's going on in the city. Like and you see like many people just sort of huddled on the corners of the streets and in the alleys, just sort of looking out, and they see you just whisk by as you make your way up towards the main palace area. Give me, all three of you, give me perception checks.
13.
16.
13, 16.
Natural 20 for 23.
Okay. Jal, you're pretty much focused very much on the dwarves around you, not really necessarily taking notice of things outside of the tram.
Yes.
Ivar, you are trying your best to pull yourself together, get yourself centered. Like you're having the inner monologue. Come on, you can do it, Ivar. You can do it. Just get yourself together, you piece of shit. And you're that's me. That's not you. And it's very much sort of a battle of your inner wills, just trying to like get a gauge of everything that is happening. And you very much notice as everything whizzes by, you do see that there is behind you, or behind this tram, there are two other trams that appear to be full of detachments of dwarven soldiers that are following closely behind this tram. Nesca, you see all. You you have your hand down along one of the interior railings of the tram, steadying yourself as this moves very, very quickly. Standing next to you is Yanshu, and he mistakenly puts his hand over your hand, like to also steady himself. And then he apologetically sort of takes his hand away and just sort of loses his balance slightly for a second, then grabs where your hand isn't, and gets his balance and sort of like very sort of awkwardly just looks down and away from you. You see directly ahead, you're approaching this massive stone, but also precious metals and crystalline palace. It seems to be made of so many different materials from the earth that have been cobbled together through dwarven ingenuity, architecture, and alchemy. Just being able to harness all of the arcane elements that dwarves possess or have possessed in their many histories in Aldromia to put together this palace. And you realize something specific about the building is that it doesn't look like it was built on this boat. It looks like it was taken from someplace else. As you come up to this tram entrance, it's like the tram track goes inside of a tunnel, which terminates once you're inside fully. You get about 10 car lengths in, with the other two behind you, right, like coming right on your ass, and you come right at the end, and there is a platform where you're able to exit, and then you see stairs that go up into another tunnel that goes up inside the palace. Around you on the sides of the tunnel looks like housed within crystalline cylinders. It appears to be some form of that bluish energy that you noticed when you first were making your way through the city.
I'll step that little bit closer into Yonshu, not touching him, but just so enough that we can sort of feel each other's like clothes brushing against each other. This is an original mountain.
Oh, you noticed that too, eh? This is very impressive architecture. This is way beyond anything that our people have ever created. It's very interesting how they would love to know how they got it on this ship.
Powerful magic. It's beautiful.
Yes, it is. There is, I noticed 2 other trams behind us that are full of Dwarven. They're wearing a lot of armor and they have weapons, so I would assume that they are some type of Dwarven security. Do you notice?
I saw.
Okay.
We look out for each other. I'm talking in like a hushed tone, like real quiet.
He intentionally this time reaches down and gives your hand a squeeze and nods.
I don't move my hand away from his.
At this point, Zagain, Hammermail, says, "All right, we've arrived at the palace. As you noticed, no doubt, we have 2 whole detachments of Dwarven soldiers. These are the toughest of the tough. So, I would really love for you all to fuck around and find out." He gives you all a very stern look, looks directly dead ass in the eye at you, Jal. "I'm watching you." Tram doors open. He steps out and he gestures with a very angry looking halberd, and he gestures up the steps.
Jal is going to step off first and kind of like as he's passing Zagain, just kind of like, "You can watch me later after dinner." Just kind of like give that little like swagger as he walks for a little bit, and as he hit breathe, Andy, breathe. As he hits the steps, he kind of just like stretches a little bit and composes himself. Jal is a member of what used to be the Red Guard of Nimrion. Or Ashcaleen specifically. He knows courts, he knows royalty, he knows how to act around them. It's just been a minute. So as he's walking up the steps, he's just like, "All right, time to put the game face on." Try not to get us all killed.
I'm going to say that actually Ivar is going to be following everyone else. He's going to be walking last, very quietly, head down, not at all with any intent of leading, speaking, or anything whatsoever.
Okay, so a very humble, contrite Ivar.
Oh, absolutely. And he's not wearing even his armor, like not wearing armor. So this is just, he looks very peasantly right now because it's just,
we all look like shit.
Yeah. But
I believe the term is.
I mean, Ivar still looks amazing.
Rihanna actually doesn't.
Gorgeous.
Rihanna doesn't look like shit. Rihanna, even through all the turmoil, has still managed to come out looking. I'm not going to say perfect 10, but we're definitely like.
Rihanna's ready for a rebound.
Yeah.
Well, Rihanna took some time to clean herself up while she was doing that. We were fighting.
We're talking like Nickelodeon Awards Rihanna as opposed to Met Gala.
So yeah, like she looks great, but I mean, like obviously everything Ivar's been going through. Nezga and Yanshu got the shit kicked out of him. Jal didn't sleep last night. He's still working off of a point of exhaustion.
Ivar's shirt is damp still from sweat. Like there's stains of blood probably on it. Like he looks.
We smell of blood, sweat, and probably fish.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're about to go meet the queen, so just upfront with all of you guys. It's been fun, we're about to get hung. It's just how it's gonna go. And I love you all.
Yeah.
Nailing this first impression.
The dice can't save us. It's not in our favor.
My dice have no intention today, apparently.
Right. We're just gonna go in there, we're gonna get sentenced to death, and then we're gonna see what happens later.
I'm up for
it. I'm assuming you're all exiting the tram. You've all exited it. Okay.
Yes.
As you have exited the tram, you see the two trams behind you. From the bowels of these two trams spew forth 4 columns of would appear to be heavily armored dwarven warriors, dressed in similar sort of ornamental armor that you see Zagain and his detachment are currently sporting. These are the palace guard of the Dwarven royal family. This is the equivalent of those British guardsmen who like wear the funny hats and stand at attention and everyone tries to make them laugh.
Yes,
those guys.
The Nutcrackers, the official title.
Yeah, so they are coming in right behind you as Zagain and his group are like marshaling you along. You ascend up the stairs until you're going. You've gone up these stairs like something your calves start to burn. It's like, okay. There's a brief moment where Ivar, you sort of like stop and you're like, okay, this is fucked. I don't want to do this anymore. And Yanshu sort of like comes in behind you and it's just like he sort of puts his arm or his hand on your on the small of your back just to steady you. And you've got these. You're going to be okay. Maybe if you need any help, just look.
He sort of nods and keeps pushing through.
Okay. You get to the top of the steps, and there is a very large circular open platform, like almost like a city square or a city. What was the word? Like a town center almost. And you see these incredibly tall columns as you realize that you are centered within the lowermost portion of the palace. You see steps, 5 different steps that go up, and then one step that goes directly opposite of you, that goes and continues towards the rearmost portion of the ship. Above you, you see suspended from the ceiling, there are these tram lines that have trams going up and down, basically elevators, going up and down within the palace. You are all escorted into one, and you are there's a dwarven rune that is in the interior of this one, and you see Zagain touch it, and the tram alights up into the air, and you're carried through these holes in the ceiling that are clearly visible, and you are riding, but the tram does not seem to be connected to these lines. It seems to be held in place by whatever bluish energy you witnessed before. So there is something that is holding it in place as it lights up into the air. You travel, and as you're traveling, you're given view into a lot of these open areas within the palace as you go through the upper levels. As you travel, there's about 5 different levels. The first level seems to be some type of almost like very nice apartments. You would assume that this is for the royal family. Above that, there is what appears to be an armory of sorts. And above that, on the third platform, it appears to be the big, at least from your vantage point, you can tell that there is a library that is open and extended. And it appears to be where a good chunk of the dwarven knowledge is kept. Above that, there is what looks to be, and you can tell from the smell and the heat, this is a forge of some type. Finally, the last remaining one, you finally reach the upper platform. And as you step off, you realize that you have arrived at your destination. And there are these massive columns that extend up and above you in the ceiling from what you viewed back at the apartment when you were standing on the platform looking out. You could see that atop this what appears to be some kind of dwarven mountain palace is a massive, huge shard of crystal that is where light will enter and sort of allows natural light to cascade throughout this palace. And as you enter or exit the tram onto this platform, you realize that there are these stone columns that lead into another room. And you see, because there's several dwarves that have just exited, and they all sort of they shuffle out, and you look and you can see as the door opens. Jal, I need to give me a perception check.
12.
As the door very briefly opens, you can very briefly catch a glimpse that this is your destination. This is the throne room of Fari Flintmace. Zagain addresses you all. All right, listen here. Here's the rules and protocol. You're going to enter here. You will be announced. What names would you like me to announce you as? Please be quick about it. We don't have all day.
This is the player trying to figure out as formal of a title as Jal would have. I can't remember if we discussed Jal's rank.
You would have been the equivalent of a sergeant.
Okay, so then his response to Zagain after a deep breath would be Sergeant Jal Hord'n of the Ashcaleen Red Guard.
Fancy boy.
Fancy room.
What about you lot? And gestures at Nesca and Yanshu.
Nesca, no other name.
Yanshu, same. No other name. Zagain just looks you over and, all right. What about you? You've fallen ill since the last time I saw you. And he fully looks at you, Ivar. And the last time I saw you, you were looking mighty proud with your armor and your sword and everything. And you were giving me a lot of bother about it. Now you look like you've been swallowed by a kraken and then barfed right back up.
Apologies for that. Ivar Aelius.
Sorry?
Ivar Aelius.
Ivar Aelius, Nesca, Yanshu, and Sergeant Jal Hord'n. And what about you, Lass? Rihanna pipes up at this point. Rihanna Nightmore of the Brecca Nightmoors. All right. Nightmore, that's a very we have had dealings with them before. The Nightmoors, they're a merchant family, yes, out of Brecca. Well, very hoity-toity of you. Oh, I'm sure we'll hear about it, but I'm dying to know how you managed to end up with this lot. They saved my life. Well, all right. All right, let's go. As you enter, to the side of the door opens, and you see the full hall. There is crystal and gold and platinum that is not in a gaudy like way at all. Like the design is all incredibly intentional, and it all extends until it reaches and terminates at the end of the hall and the end of the room. What it turns into a golden and brass, almost machine of some kind, that's sitting in front of it is a throne. And on the throne is someone who you could only describe as someone who is terribly beautiful and powerful in bearing and appearance.
I rolled just a juice. I'm kidding.
I put some stuff in the Discord.
Wait.
Ooh, Discord time.
I'm saying
Hello.
it first. Smash.
Yeah.
I couldn't unmute. Yeah, smash. What? Oh, I'm on the wrong
You
thing.
see, sitting before you for the first time, Fari Flintmace. She looks to be, would appear to be middle-aged for dwarf, which means that she looks actually very young for the dwarves who are around her. Standing on either side of her are two more elderly-looking dwarves, one who is standing in full plate armor with a nasty-looking mace, and then on the opposite side of him is a dwarf who is standing in purple and golden embroidered robes. Both of those dwarves, the armored dwarf has like graying hair, while as the robed dwarf has full-on white hair and beard. Zagain whispers to you, Neska, depending on who you have speaking for you, I just know that those two are the uncles of my queen. That is Gamal Magma Brew and Lukhal Kolgrog.
Thank you.
That is Lukhal Kolgrog. He's the one in the armor. Gamal Magma Brew is he's our pretending wizard. So be careful. And he sort of chuckles with your answers. Would hate to see you banished. And he's like, all right, let's step it up. And he begins to lead you forward. As he does, or as the other guards begin to lead you forward into the room towards the throne, he hangs back and you see him talking to another young dwarf who looks to be dressed in sort of courtly robes with a poofy hat on top. And the appears to be listening to Zagain. And you, from the back of the room, you hear, from across the sea, we have, in the court of Fari Flintmace, queen of the Dwarven peoples, we have Sergeant Jarl Hord'n of the Ashcaleen Red Guard, Ivar, Iali. And then he pauses as he realizes he has nothing more to say to attend the names of Neska and Yanshu. And Neska and Yanshu. Oh, sorry, Your Majesty. And he sees Rihanna, who's sort of like been waiting, because of all of you, Rihanna actually knows what courtly proceedings really look like. Sorry, madam. Rihanna Nightmore of the Brecca Nightmoors. And at this point, Rihanna steps forward ahead of you all And you see her bearing and body language have changed.
Go Rihanna.
As it would appear that she has more experience than all of you in the handling and customs of courtly affairs.
Get it, girl.
And she strides forward and stands a respectful distance from the throne. At this point, the Dwarven Guard are flanking all of you on either side, just coming up alongside until they're basically a man down from the throne. And you are standing before Queen Fari Flintmace. At this point, the major domo guy at the door, he adjusts his cap, and then he steps back behind one of the pillars, and you can't see him anymore. Fari Flintmace taps her hand on the throne, looking down at you all. She regards each and every one of you, her eyes just studying all of you.
Your Majesty, thank you for your hospitality.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it your custom in wherever you're from for you to speak before the monarch?
Where I am from...
You hear Yanshu just right next to you, just being just please.
Time to get those second characters, guys.
Let it go. Let it go.
It's
Don't get us all fucking killed.
anyone close enough can see like the fury of being spoken to like this, and it takes a lot out of her to swallow her pride. She like looks down but does not break eye contact.
Yes. That's what I thought. Welcome to our ship, to our city. Welcome to our kingdom, afloat upon the seas. If you would permit, she looks at you, Neska, I will ask some questions. What brought you upon the seas that has you looking so much like bilge rats? Don't everyone talk at once?
Jalo.
If I'm... Oh, you go.
Okay.
This exchange happens. Like Neska and Jal both try to talk at the same time.
Just kind of like both at the same time. Jal looks at her and just goes, just...
Ivar quietly
Jalo.
just putting a rope around his neck. Just quietly.
She's like, as we're talking, oh, so what had happened was, oh, is that Hord'n my size? Okay. All right. But Jal had been following Rihanna's lead the entire time that they had been walking in, would have given a very polite bow once they reached the spot in the hall. And now that we have been asked a question, Jal would take a deep breath, address the monarch, and just say, Your Majesty, it is with a heavy heart that I share with you the news that the capital city of Nimrion, Ashcaleen, has fallen, and we are refugees forced to the high seas out of sheer survival instinct.
Oh, well, what you regard as sad news or regretful news, I regard with joy. It would be rather silly of me to regard it as anything else, given that the monarchy, the rulers of that city, put siege and ruin upon my people and drove us out upon these now ships upon the high seas. So to hear that your city has met with some ill fate gladdens my heart to no end. At this point, the one known as Gamal Magbrew comes down and whispers something to Fari. But yes, I am to understand that we have someone from Surastir in our midst. Rihanna, at this point, raises her hand and pipes up. Yes, Your Majesty. I'm Rihanna of the Nightmoors, of the Brecca Nightmoors. A well-known, well-established merchant family. I was to be wed in Ashcaleen when the city fell. Sadly, my husband met a rather cruel fate at the hands of an undead. She looks at you, Nesca and Jal and Ivar. What were they? What was it that you called them?
I believe the technical term would be vampire. Vampire. I believe. Why am I answering? I have an intelligence of 8.
Jal says all out loud.
Ivar just sort of blurts out while his hands are behind his back. His eyes are on the ground, and he's just fiends of darkness, vampires, consumers of life, dwellers of the night, enemies of the flame.
Okay. I think they get it.
Am I to understand that this noble city fell to beasts of legend and of myth?
These legends and myth appear to be the source of your most recent joy, and they had been led by a individual that we only know of their name, and it's been so long since we've said it. I'm making sure that I get it correctly.
Mhm.
Damien Blightmore?
Damien Moldar.
Morlock.
It was dumb.
Morlock, that's what it was.
Damien Moldark.
Hold on.
There we go.
So Jal said it correctly, but I fucked up.
That is not a name that we are... She looks at Gamal. It's not a name that we are familiar with. Gamal shakes his head. No. At this point, Lucal comes alongside, whispers something. When we... or he whispers something to Fari. When our man, she gestures at Zagain, fished you out of the ocean, we believe that you were aboard a smaller vessel. Is that true?
At one point, Your Majesty, it was a smaller vessel. I do believe that when we came upon your shores and docks, that it was not but rubble.
So it would seem that you decided to test the seas, and you failed.
Nay, Your Majesty, the seas themselves, while challenging to those who did not have skill on a ship, mostly myself, it appears that it was not the sea, but what lies beneath it that was ultimately our vessel's undoing.
I see. Though some of you might not be used to courtly tradition, I am in a giving mood. What would you have of the crown? What service may we provide? My people and I.
I just looked to
With all-
Rhiannon.
With all due respect, Your Majesty, you may say that you are in a giving mood. However, I do not believe that that is how these things go. We are quite literally at your mercy. We are alive because you say so. Therefore, we are adrift in the currents of your seas.
Gamal whispers something again in her ear. You two. Looking at Nesca and Yanshu.
Damn it.
Your bearing and features are not known to us, at least not something that we are immediately able to recollect. From where come you?
From distant lands, we are wanderers. Our heritage almost long forgotten.
Long forgotten, you say?
To most.
She raises her hand and gestures at Zagain and his group. They immediately surround you with their glaives lowered at your back and front. Perhaps not so long.
For some.
It is interesting. Hord'n, was it? And Ivar, you find yourselves in the company of some long forgotten enemies of my people, ones that tried to take territory and land, sacred land, from us when we occupied the land itself. I am very curious how you all came to be together. Please, in our time when we occupied the city of Thunderul and the kingdoms underneath the mountain, this was a hall of stories. Please, one of you, tell us a story. Make it a good one.
Looks to Yanshu. Still keeps her head down, but again holds that ironclad
Yanshu
stare.
is standing next to you, and he does not want to say a word.
I think you would. Wrong
Ivar
place,
is-
wrong. Would you like a more recent story or one of time's older tales?
I am very curious what kind of story one with no manners might tell.
I have manners.
At those words, Yanshu, just under his breath, like head down, looks at you, and like you feel his hand close around your wrist. It's like whispers, "Do not take the bait."
Ivar, out of nowhere, Ivar just blurts out, "Fate!"
Bait? Really?
And then he finally looks up and looks toward the queen. The gods decided this meeting. From the moment the group you have before you gathered to this very moment, the city that we left became nothing but ash. And yet, we got to survive. Care not for race or history. Are you to believe, or would you want the sins of your ancestors to be cast and cashed upon you? We survived. That's our story. And in that survival, we aided someone. And he just nods toward Rihanna. Whatever purpose we had before that moment, it all dissolved and it became the tale that led us here.
What brought you to this city?
Is she
She's talking to Ivar.
Oh, okay. In a time before I was a member of the Sixth Flame of the land of Axara, I have lived my life wandering realms, following a Minotaur. And you see that he just has a moment where, after saying that, he has a silent moment where he seems to consider whether or not that's even true. I lived of the kindness of those who wanted to hear the word of the sun god.
The mention of the kingdom and the order that you were part of. Gamal and Lukal both whisper something in Fari's ears. So you are a Kalashtar, then. That is most intriguing. We have had dealings with your peoples. Very hospitable merchant folk. We do know that there is a underlying mystery that we have not begun to delve into, but I'm very happy that we were able to aid one of your people. Perhaps it shall do us some good one day. And what of you lot? What brought you to the fair city? She says fair city with no small amount of venom. Pun intended.
I caught it. Sensing Yonshun's tension and having that brief reprieve from Ivar, Neska will finally break the gaze and look down. And it crushes something inside her to do so. Wrong place, wrong time, Your Majesty. I was traveling and the city went into lockdown for 3 weeks. I tried to find information and was unsuccessful. There was a violent coup and we fled.
Give me a deception check.
My heart is pounding. 6. No. I'm just gonna, my own poison. Cleopatra it. It's either a nat 20 or a nat 1. Oh my god, I'm dying. Don't do this!
Walking. Dead party walking.
Yeah, there it is.
Her eyes narrow as she is studying your face and your body language. It's a very nice story. Some very interesting details that I feel, are leaving out. We dwarves, we may not be at the upper echelons of the food chain on Odromia, but we're not at the bottom of it. Unlike some, we have long memories. We know that when we encountered your people the first time, there was but one. And then two, until we found a host of you assaulting us in the south. That was hundreds of years ago. But if I might query, what would bring two of your ilk to a city such as Ashcaleen? What purpose would it serve?
I am not my ancestors. We heard news, rumors of a potential undertaking. I was there to gather information. We were there to gather information, not to intervene, reconnaissance, and leave. We had to know how big the threat was.
Lokal whispers something in Fari's ear. Fari raises her hand to Lokal. Yes, thank you, Uncle.
Looks down again.
I'm feeling merciful in this moment. Benevolent. I'm so benevolent. My initial impression of what to do with you lot, aside from her, and she gestures at Rihanna, was to throw you over the side and let the sea handle the rest. But you've told a good story, and I believe you could probably tell even more stories. It's not every day that I have a red guard from Ashcaleen, an Order of the Flame, and a spy and assassin of the lizard peoples. Don't even know what you call yourselves. Now, at least. I don't believe we'll be throwing you over the side today. Thank yous again. Thank you. I think... No, it shall be the prisons for you. Yes. Prisons. I'm thinking we'll have you stay a bit longer, just so we can hear some more stories from you. Take those two. And Zagain and his detachment immediately come up with you and gesture with their glaives to Yanshu and Neska. And begin to lead them out of the throne room.
Ivar is going to speak up. If they are to be in the prison, then I shall join them.
Why would you wish to join these?
You judge with your eyes and with your past. I judge with actions. They fought with honor alongside me. And if they are to be treated in such way, then I deserve the same fate.
Ivar, you don't.
He ignores.
What say you, Redguard?
What can I say, Your Majesty? If I plead for my life, will it change anything? Or if I plead for anybody's life? I am a soldier in a capital that is now ashes on the ground, fittingly for its name. What bearing do I have in your courts?
None. But do you wish to speak for your companions? Do you wish to give an account of them? Or do they mean
An account,
nothing?
Your Majesty? I will give an account. I will give the only account that I can. I know not of spies and assassins. I am, for lack of a better term, a grunt in the army of Nimrion. When the entire world seemed to be falling down around me, it was this group here that kept me on my feet and kept me going. When literally a undead monstrosity from myth and legend attempted to drain my body dry of its fluids. It was these individuals, I stand with you now, that made it so I did not perish along with my city. Wherever they come from, whatever their peoples may have done centuries ago, these individuals standing before you are good people.
She gives your words thought. Jal, I need you to give me a persuasion check, and I'll allow you to do it with advantage, given that Ivar has also spoken in alignment with what you've just said.
This, unfortunately, will have to be a flat roll because I'm exhausted.
Can I give him my inspiration? Because apparently I have a point of inspiration from something.
Actually, Jal, don't you have a point of inspiration as well?
Yeah, not currently.
Well, maybe you already used it then. Okay.
I think I actually used it fighting Ivar to make sure that I shot the sword out of his hand.
That's right. That's right.
Think that that's how that went. I mean, is the story weaver giving me an inspiration then?
I'll allow it.
Thank God, because that was a 2. A persuasion, you say? Now it's a 17. I just looked up and Taylor is gone down here.
A 17.
17.
Queen of the Dwarven peoples is not a cruel ruler. She is shrewd, and she is known for being tough, but fair. Hearing this account from both Ivar and Jal, you see Nesca, you see her countenance soften towards you in Yonshu. That is truly a glowing review of these two, one I was not expecting. Very well. She pauses, a pause that seems to last for infinity. I will allow you to return to the apartments we had you installed in. You will be kept under close watch. Please, do not give my guard, and she gestures towards Zigane and his entire retinue. Do not give them an excuse. They haven't had much practice recently. They're just itching for something to make the wrong move. I will not say house arrest, but if that helps you understand what this is, think of it as that. But we will have, I believe you've already met one of our arcanists, Gada Smeltmaster. She will be a liaison for you and for our personage. We shall be hearing from you all in times to come. Zigane, take them away. At this point, Zigane and his the two ranks of the dwarves, they come in around you, much in the same way that they came around you when they first brought you in. At this point, Fari Flintmace, Queen of the Dwarven city ships and of the Dwarven kingdoms, stands, inclines her head to each of you. Slightly quicker inclination towards Yonshu and Nesca, but a sign of brief respect, if nothing else. And you are all led out of the throne room. The doors creak, echoing in the hall around you as they close. You are led back onto the tram, and you are brought all the way by the tram, by Zigane and his group, his detachment, back to the apartment. Upon arriving at the apartment, you discover that room service has been through. The table has been resupplied of different beverages and food items. There are the pillows have been poofed. There are fresh sheets upon the bed, not the damp ones that were underneath Ivar. The towels have been replaced, the ones that Rihanna was using. And the it seems like they completely went in and dusted everything and brightened and oiled all of the different ornaments, and this whole place has gotten a little bit of a facelift in the short time that you were gone. Zigane walks in with you. The rest of his detachment are outside. All right, I think Our Majesty was very clear about our, the rules. I will say, Gade will be around presently to perhaps convey messages or perhaps impart some additional communication. Please do not leave the premises. Strongly advise against it. Especially you two. Points at Nesca and Yanshu. Are there any questions?
Yeah, will you be watching us yourself?
Oh, no. No.
Well, that's a shame.
He looks at one of his other lower ranked individuals that are a part of his group. Keep a close eye on that one. And yes, at this point, we are going to have a small break, 5 minutes for bathroom.
Good.
Welcome back, everyone. Back to Survivors of Ashcaleen, where our friends have just gone through a little bit of an ordeal with the Queen of the Dwarven Kingdoms that are currently at sea aboard the city ships. They are currently back at their apartment. At this point, you have the evening finally together. A lot has happened. A lot of things are going through your heads right now. Things that have been illuminated about certain individuals within the party. Certain things have been revealed, brought to light. You all pass the early part of the evening, dinner time really, just recovering, eating, hydrating, drinking the beverages that have been offered to you. Towards the end, some servants, or not servants per se, but the people who are responsible for cleaning this apartment, this suite, have come in, and they have moved the whole suite along in the evening so that it's no longer like a dinner, but more like an evening tea. And there are some soups that are then put out, some seafood stews of some kind. Smells incredible. The curtains have been pulled aside, and the sea air just sort of wafts in and fills the apartment. It's salty, but not like overcoming and pungent, just like this fresh smell. It's fresh air. The distant call of the seabirds that sort of they travel with the city ships because they like to land on them as the city ships travel across the oceans. I need one of you to give me a perception check. You're muted.
Sorry, it didn't work. Is that shot not to do it, or I guess I'm doing perception?
Ivar is not going to be doing
fair.
much perception right now.
That is a 17.
17.
Yes.
As the evening hours begin to get steadily more dark, as the sun begins to set, you do notice maybe it's the slight vibration in the floor that has been present, but is definitely a slight increase or surge. You feel slowly the ship is changing direction, and whereas before it was headed in a westerly direction, it seems to have now come about. And as you are looking out the window, and you're seeing sort of the position of the sun prior to its setting, and the stars that have just now begin to peek out in the night sky, you do see that the ship is moving slightly northward, and still further north, until it has fully come about and is actually heading more in a northeasterly direction. Also, something that you're aware of is that 3 of the 5 city ships that you saw that were not the city ship that you were on have continued in the direction that they were originally heading, whereas 2 others are now coming alongside and are traveling with the capital city ship that you are on. The ship has changed course and is heading northeast.
I relay that. You took the words right out of my mouth.
You're, of course, all able to discuss this. At this point, you are all inside the apartment. The dwarves are no longer here. Rihanna has gone to bed. Yanshu is in a corner, just finishing his stew, dabbing some bread, eating it, just not going towards any of the beds. He's just sort of like propping just pillows underneath him and just sort of like getting comfortable. What are the rest of you doing?
Would I have a sense of where we may potentially be heading?
You do know, based off of the information that Nesca has imparted to you, that you are now heading in the direction that you were originally heading when you were on the yacht.
Okay.
So you were heading in the direction of Suristir.
Ivar would probably relay something like that with distracted tone of just the course. Wait, did you tell us which direction the course or the ship has turned or no?
Would I have known that? I can do a survival check or something if you'd like.
I'm going to say that because of the 17 on the perception check, because you are recognizing position of the sun and the stars, you know that you're headed back in the, because you were the one who was piloting the yacht.
Yeah.
So you know
Okay.
which stars that you were sort of aligning yourself on in order to gain what course you were taking. And you knew that which direction east you're heading towards Suristir. Specifically, you're trying to reach Brecca, because that is where Rihanna has said that she's from. And based off of the charts that you were found in the captain's cabin, you knew sort of, you're just trying to make landfall just to know, get the bearings of where you are on the coast, and then you would make your decision of where am I going, south or north.
Yeah.
At this point, you know the ship is heading northeast.
Ivar would just comment, perhaps we will be able to deliver Rihanna to her destination after all.
Perhaps. Or will she be now held for ransom?
I don't
The
know.
Queen.
The queen kind of took a liking to her. I don't know if she's going to be held for ransom. Maybe, perhaps, given that the Nightmares are a merchant family, perhaps the queen is trying to get it in nicely with a merchant, given that the dwarves tend to bring a lot of trade across the oceans.
That seems more likely. The way that they were talking about the Nightmares, it was very favorably. I mean, if you're in business with somebody, the last thing you want to do is actually, hey, we got your daughter. You want to give us some money and you'll have her back? Doesn't really bode well for business. So, if anything, probably delivering on an act of good faith, hoping to gain more favor. Just like that. We're the ones who brought your daughter back. Give us a discount on whatever her family says.
Our families are very different then.
Got that right.
They hand over Rhiannon. What of us?
Well, any moment now, our lovely Arcanist is going to remember the fucked up shit that happened not 8 hours ago. And probably there will be more questions that we're either not going to answer or going to have to lie about, or we tell them the truth. But either way, doesn't really seem to end well. So, and Jal kind of leans forward, grabs like a roll or something, leans back in his chair, and just goes, enjoy it while it lasts. We're about to be surrounded by concrete.
On that, I must thank you. Both of you. Looks to Jarl and Ivar for standing up for us.
Why wouldn't
That is
I?
not. We come from very different cultures. I don't say.
Listen, feel free to say no to this, but if it's between us going to prison, potentially spending an indefinite amount of time aboard this city ship, freedom's taken away, and perhaps a dwarven arcanist losing her life, I would be more than happy to perform a service. Could make it very quick.
It will not come to that.
You sound very sure of yourself.
There is a lot of diplomacy aboard this ship. And if it came to, I will take the responsibility of that which I have done. After all, I do not know what purpose or how much left I have of whatever will I can muster.
You create your purpose.
You mentioned different culture. Do you know
Yes.
much about my kind?
I have heard of yours. Can't say I've encountered one myself. Until you, of course.
Ivar turns around and faces the group leaning against the wall. Most of you dream. We Kalastars do not. Our minds are not just our own. We share it with a spirit. And that spirit is as much a part of us as you, Neska, believe yourself to be Neska. However, I am beginning to believe that the fate of my own spirit is way darker than I ever thought. Imagine your arm, your heart, your guts being ripped apart from your body. You would want it back. You would just know you need it. That is how I feel ever since that sword went in there. And then he nods toward the ring.
Jaw's going to have a roll hanging halfway out of his mouth in that exact moment.
There cannot be darkness without light. And there cannot be light without darkness.
A beautiful sentiment.
You just need to find the balance between the two.
Yeah, buddy. You complete me. And I'm going to minor illusion, a green happy face.
It is in moments like this I wish I was fully dead.
Oh, me too, buddy.
His joke was not that bad.
And that's saying something. There are people who haven't had a joke in the last 17 centuries.
I am serious, though. We are with a conundrum. The thing that you have trapped in that sword is a part of me, but I do not want it. Yet I do not believe I can survive much longer without it.
Well, there is your purpose. Find an alternative.
Or embrace the judgment that I have been running away from all this time. There is something that I could do. Go back home.
Where would that be?
The lands of my people.
Vague.
We are past. We are going in a different direction now. Nevertheless, those of us who are found to be corrupted by darkness are judged and removed from the possibility of spreading any more of it.
Judged by whom?
Those of my ilk.
Similar cultures.
And pray tell, what happens if you are found to be one spreading darkness?
I am to die.
It sounds like you would be dying regardless if you were to return or no, correct?
Correct. But the people of my land know how to deal with the quarry. And before I die, I need to know the memories that that thing stole from me. I will have it answered to me before my time.
Do you know, do your people travel widely? Or perhaps there might be some Kalashtar. Perhaps there are Kalashtar in Brekka or in Surstir. Do you know of any enclaves that might exist in the coastal cities?
Would I know?
Give me a history check.
I'm telling you. That's a 2 plus 2. That's a 4. I am glad that we're not fighting right now.
Listen, your dice are
cursed.
Thinking thematically because there is a piece of you missing.
Yeah, no,
your dice are like, you can't do shit.
I appreciate their commitments to staying in character, but my God.
Enough with this method acting, dice.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Ivar, you do know that your people are widely traveled, given the fact that they tend to present as human normally. It is very difficult for other races to determine that they are in the presence of a Kalashtar until that Kalashtar reveals that they are, meaning that they're able to travel very freely throughout the world. They tend to stick to coastal cities if they're not in the Dream Isles. And they tend to stick to the north. If they were to go anywhere near Suristir, they would tend to stick to the northerly part of Suristir, because to go and try to get to the south, you would be going through the Shabazpur Islands, which is all pirate territory. And given that the Kalashtar and the Dream Isles, they are merchant seafaring people, they would never risk it trying to travel or traverse there.
Yeah. I would say that our response would be, even if there were to be one, I wouldn't want to risk unleashing that without enough support.
You supported us. We will for you.
You see that he has a moment, he just looks down. He doesn't know what to say.
Yanshu echoes the sentiment. Jal, I think I can speak for everyone here. We probably would not be here if it weren't for you. I certainly would not have been, considering that you found me in such a state back in Ashcaleen. I was very close to death. If you hadn't decided that my life was worth it, then I would have expired within that city, just as many of the inhabitants did. But thankfully, you were kind. And whether you knew it or not, you were rescuing not only myself, but my friend here as well. We would do the same for you.
Ivar has been listening. He's been just holding his body and keeping his eyes down, slightly nodding. And an uncomfortable smile crosses his face. I'm tired. And he just walks to a corner close toward the window, or the area where he can see the ocean, and he just goes there.
Joel, may I speak with you a moment?
Speaking to me now.
I look over to Yonshu and Ivar and then nod to the other end of the room.
You're making me get up. All right.
Thank you. And then over in the corner, she stands with her back to the wall so she can see the other two. What do Yonshu and I look like to you? We're still wearing our masks. I assume Yonshu's still wearing his mask?
Yes.
Okay.
His Majesty Lord DM, correct me if I'm wrong, but people wearing badass kabuki masks aren't exactly the norm. So
also,
I was going
at this point, given the amount of time that you've spent with Yanshu and Nesca, you know that there's something very different about the eyes.
Yeah.
And the mask sort of looks like a dragon skull or some sort of reptilian skull with little grooves in it and stubby little horns. And it fits so well to her face that one would think it is part of her skin. It's only on very close inspection would it be determined that it is, in fact, a mask.
So your question was, what do we look like?
Yeah.
I was going to look down at Nesca, look over his shoulder.
Just for the fun of it. Give me a history check, Joel.
Let's see. It's going to be a whopping -1 to this roll.
Amazing.
5.
You can continue with your description. I just wanted to see what was gonna just for the heck of it, just to see if a 19 was possible.
Shaw's going to look down at Nesca, look back over his shoulder at Yanshu, just kind of look back. Like a couple of badasses, if I'm being honest. What are you getting at?
Thank you for your compliment.
Call it like I see it.
What do you know of lizard folk, as I've been called?
Yeah, I don't know why they would call you that. Lizard folk actually look like upright alligators and, stuff like that. Like, with the big jaws and so on and so forth.
With tails?
Yeah, tails, big teeth, stuff like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, lizard folk look more like those dragonborn than I mean, you do. That was just very, very, very rude. And they said that we were rude it was her court, but I mean, at least we're not calling people lizard folk. Could have given it right back to her. You could have called her and Jal thinks from him, goes, Absolutely stunning woman. Yeah, no, doesn't work. Doesn't work that way.
Yes, I can't find an insult for her appearance either, which annoys
It's
me.
it's the faultless. That's goddamn
How
beautiful
can how
people.
can someone look that perfect?
I
What?
know, right? Well, I mean,
Anyway,
royalty, money. She's probably got like 12 people for her hair alone.
anyway,
Yeah.
they aren't far off. I've touched you. Do you recall what it felt like?
I remember a lot of pain because I had a bruise like right here, and then there was no pain. So that's what that felt like. Why? What are you talking about? I'm
She
sensing that could
almost,
have had a V8 moment.
yeah,
Please don't.
she's like, oh, so like she actually wants to. She's like, no, 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 don't give him a reason.
I have an intelligence of 8. I know what I'm doing.
Another question then. What do you know of Yuan T?
Bless you.
Her hand twitches at her side.
Fucking perfect.
Oh, God,
Oh man.
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't
Did you say something else?
sneeze.
Oh, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Yuan T.
No, I'm more of a coffee person.
Oh my god.
I don't
Do not.
understand why you look so grumpy right now. I'm answering your question.
You are.
Oh my god. Nesca, give me a percentile die roll right now.
Oh, oh, golly gosh.
For the
She's
record,
struggling
my
getting together right
AC
now.
is 15.
Oh Lord.
That's
Oh.
a 87.
There's an 87% chance that that Jal gets batted in the face.
Her hand came up. There we go.
Why are you mad at me?
Would Ivar know about you?
This
You
is a
can't
hush
hear it.
conversation.
You can't hear it.
Fine. I do want tea though.
Earl Grey, chamomile. Apparently Nezca's making it.
Ginger with lemon. I am a Yuan T. I have not told that to anyone outside of my people. That is why the Queen was hostile towards Yonshu and I. I never did anything. It was well before my time, but there is a history of blood between our people.
His Majesty Lord DM. As it could not be put any more bluntly, finally, does Jal have any idea what Yuan-Ti are or anything having to do with conflict between the dwarves and these people?
No. No. I mean, innate intelligence is innate intelligence. So like, but the thing is, Jal's not an idiot. He just calls things like he sees them, and he's it's sort of like very surface level. I believe what I see with my eyes. There's
Yep.
no investigation beyond that. And in term like that conflict is something that would be in the lore of the dwarves, the lore of the Yuan Ti. Both sides have different perspectives on that conflict that happened hundreds of years ago. It would not have been something that would have been readily available knowledge to humans because they were not present. And the Yuan Ti have been a very reclusive society, and the dwarves have been very cloistered in their dwarven strongholds, and they didn't really want to associate with anything to do with humans. And so that conflict would have been something that would have been kept very much in the cultures of the two peoples and not like widely disseminated. The only people who would really know would have been scholars and historians of the time.
Jal's going to kind of take this moment, use his thumb to scratch his forehead. Nezca, you could have told me that you were a Yuan Ti, a lizard folk, a devil, a gosh darn rainbow sparkle for all I care. I don't know. It ain't in me to go and figure out or to fact check you on it. Bottom line, as far as I'm concerned, here, Nezca, you are a person that has had my back ever since somebody tried to chew on it. And by golly, I don't care what anybody else has said or done in the past that may or may not share some type of blood with you. You are who you are today. And as far as what our beautiful dwarven monarch had to say about it and the feelings, she may have asked us for a story today, but she wrote her own, being that apparently she had a courtroom full, and I mean chock full, of dwarven enemies and decided to show some mercy. Seems to me that she's kind of ignoring some past as well based off of the person she sees in front of her.
She did not see me. The Queen does not know me. Simply took your words.
That can be very persuasive. Like maybe
it has
a
helped.
17 out of 20.
And it has helped us many times. So when I say thank you, I mean it.
You know, this would be a great time for a quippy remark, but instead, I'll just say, you're welcome.
Are we friends?
I would think so. I mean, why not? Do you want to be friends?
Oh my god.
We can be friends. We can braid each other's hair, and you can tell me about your crush on Yanshu, and it'll be a good old time.
My what?
Yep. You and you guys like I know you guys work together, but I mean, like, you know, are you guys like, we kissed?
Even underneath the mask, you can see a little pink flush once.
Oh, okay. Hey, hey, nothing to be embarrassed about. It's all good. You know, nice. It was good. Tell me about it. How was it? How was it? Here. He's gonna pick up a drink, put it in her hand, just like, you know.
how Nesca and Jal have suddenly turned into like high school girl sleepover.
It's like Mean Girls, and like Jal is the one that it's like, no, you gotta tell me about it because we're friends now.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I have ESPN or something.
It was good.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
It'd be terrible if he was like a shitty kisser, you know? It's good that he's good, you know? Like out of all the kisses that you've had, like how was he good?
The pink hue appears. Very good.
Yeah. Like top 5, top 10?
Top 1.
Out of all the people you've kissed, he's the number 1?
He would be the best.
Wow. I'm kind of jealous. I think I want to kiss you. Well, why not? It's a good time. Maybe I'll go kiss. Hey, it like turned like he's gonna go and walk away.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you were gonna let me go? Oh, no! I'm just fucking with you because we're friends. That's what we do. That's how we show. That's how we show that I care about you.
Again, with the different cultures.
Yeah, you'll learn. It's all good.
Friendship is foreign to us. It is very much survival of the strongest.
Well, it got you this far, and now you got yourself a friend. Or does a quick count, like 5 of us?
Yes. I think so.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then real quick, she's gonna like just leave that conversation because she doesn't know how to continue it, and then like kneel down in front of Ivar, sort of snap her fingers, get his attention. Are we friends?
Ivar's been awoken just slightly out of
Yeah.
like a half sleep, like you were just about to doze off. Suddenly,
Technically no, because yeah, no, he doesn't sleep. But I mean, he does, but he has that moment of, what do you think?
I've never had friends before.
Have you had people that you can count on before?
To a degree. To complete a mission. Outside of that, no. Not until Ashcaleen.
Perhaps we can continue our journey and let the journey tell us the answer.
Very well. What's a crush?
Something you can do to your enemies.
Yes, it's the same thing Joel's talking about.
Yes, I'm very good at that.
And you shall be fine.
Joel said I had a crush. I do not understand.
I rarely understand Joel.
Yes, excellent response.
In this moment, Joel is checking out like some china and like looking at the bottom, just goes, this has to be fake.
Oh my lord.
It's got made in Ashcaleen scrolled on the bottom.
I totally imagine him like Homer Simpson walking around the room, Homer Simpson style.
Oh,
Go!
Reading a book upside down.
Yeah, he doesn't. Like, he talks about the question. He just, did he mean on someone? Like, affection?
He said on Yonshu. Quickly make sure that Yonshu's not listening.
Yeah, she was like standing right next to him, just in shadows.
He's sitting right beside Ivar as this conversation's happening. That's another natural 20.
So that's where
23.
my rolls went. I just basically, all my potential good rolls just crunched up together into nat 20s for Taylor.
That's only two
or
this,
was it
this session.
crushed up together?
Like you do to your enemies.
So cursory, just head on a swivel. Nesca looks around real quick. Yanshu has not moved. He has finished his stew and has placed the bowl on the table and is now sitting back with his arms just crossed and his eyes closed, his chin down at his chest. Doesn't necessarily look asleep, but just very relaxed in this moment. Just
Andy, I have to ask, did you have on a scale from 1 to 100, how likely was the fact that this would be the dating simulator episode? How
0. 0.
Welcome to D&D!
You're welcome.
Oh my lord.
Joel said I had one on Yonshu.
Do you?
I don't know what a crush is.
It's a form of speech when people have feelings for someone else. Romantic feeling.
I'm unfamiliar with those.
Perhaps we will find out more about those as we go on the road as well.
What does it mean?
I suppose it means that your gods, my gods, may not be that different from one another.
That does not answer my question. I think I do care for him. But I also care for you and Joel.
Same as you do him?
No, but I do not know how to describe it.
For the first time in a long time, probably the first time ever for this group, Ivar actually gives you like his current state of looking elderly makes it so that this smile looks like a grandpa smile, like
Aww.
you know. And so he literally just reaches and just places a hand on top of yours, and he just has a moment where he just says, "This discovery, consider it a gift. Let it unfold. Maybe you choose to keep it, maybe not."
Confused, like even behind the mask, it's just what? But she will place her other hand on top of yours, give it a pat, rest. She will stand and walk away, and then sort of stand in the middle of the room awkwardly, not knowing what the hell to do.
Yeah,
She rolled a natural one. You gotta kiss the
5.
Victor, we're working on that. We're working on that parody.
It's coming.
We'll have it in 48 hours.
Jal, do you eventually bed down for the night?
Yes, and even though I will say that Jal does rest, I will say that he's what wording do I want to use here? He's a little more conscious about where Ivar is and also where his ring is, just in case he wants to try some bullshit while I'm sleeping.
Got it.
And it is one of those things where like Jaw will be laying in bed, probably ring on the finger under the pillow, and just like watching Ivar, like he drifts into sleep, jolts awake, and like does that as long as he can until sleep finally takes him.
And then I steal the elven bread and throw it below the stairs, and then put some crumbs on top of his cape.
Crumbs on his
You liar!
I guess you mean the elven nasty bread.
That was creepy good.
I've been working on it for years. Andy Serkis, I'm a big fan.
Okay, so you're sort of very cognizant of always where Ivar is in the room. Ivar does not seem to stir at all during this time. Sleep takes you both. You are, for the first time in several days, you allow yourself to momentarily, for however long, let your guard down. And because in this moment, no watch needs to be called, mainly because you're being watched. Rihanna, she beds down in one of the rooms. Nesca, what are you doing?
Niska will sweep the room as she always does, on very high alert, given the fact that her identity has been uncovered. Like, yes, she willingly told her friends that she's now comfortable to call them, but she has no idea how the city found out about her and Yonshu. They were careful, they were quiet, they were wearing their masks. They made sure not to touch anyone to reveal their cold skin. So she's a bit anxious and a little unnerved by what both Ivar and Jarl have said to her, but she'll find Yonshu and just look for that comfort, and sort of sit next to him and have some part of her body touching him, whether it just be shoulders touching or their knees touching, just looking for a presence. Nothing intimate, nothing that could be misread, hopefully. She's looking for that reassurance that while she said that she's there for him, as she's proclaimed to the rest of the party, that he's there as well, and wondering, does he have a crush on me? Like, what's happening? Her mind is racing.
There you see her. It's just in my head permanently now. I've ruined the game. I'm sorry.
Just to ruin the moment even more. Niska, you're so cool. Everyone go see Mario. So you and Yonshu, you're both in the same area. Not necessarily. You start off the evening close together, with just like maybe the bottom portion of your legs touching, but like separate away from each other. Nesca, give me a perception check.
Yes. I'm not even joking. It's another natural 20.
Take a picture of that shit. This is insane.
Remember that boat ride when we had like
Yeah, what the hell? What the
like
hell?
everything went wrong.
What are your dice made of?
Luck.
These are my Nesca themed dice. Yeah.
Were these crafted by a halfling?
Dice juju, man. It's the
Dice
character
juju,
dice.
man.
There we go. It is in the Discord.
It's not even like proof of confirmation.
Oh, that's
or
cool.
anything.
Those are cool dice too.
Yeah.
It's just celebration. Like, look, guys, it's a freaking nat 20. We found it. We found that side of the die.
This was a perception to see if you realized during the night, Yonshu, feeling just not necessarily the need to protect you. You are fully capable of protecting yourself. But knowing that there has been a closeness that has happened between the two of you. Not entirely sure where your mind is at, but knowing where his head is at, just wants to know where you are in the space. And so during the night, he sort of moves so that he is back to back with you, and just reaches with his hand, just sort of reaches behind and just grabs your hand. And he falls asleep like that.
I don't pull away.
The night passes without issue. The next morning comes. You're sort of awakened by the sound of seabirds that have alighted outside on the patio. Just tons of seagulls just waiting for some form of nourishment that you usually have come to expect by dwarves, just tossing the leavings from the food the previous night.
I
Ivar?
shoot at one with an Eldritch Blast like I'm turning off an alarm clock.
Ivar, you awaken after a night with no dreams, no visions, no nothing. Nothing at all except the sound of the sea, the faintest smell of smelting and iron mixing with the salty smell of the ocean. Not an entirely unpleasant smell, just something you get used to. You awaken feeling, for the first time, like feeling like you know when you work out the previous day and you wake up the next day after that and you're just like, oh my God, did I pull something? It's like that. You feel like your whole body was pulled. Nesca, you wake up first and you feel Yanshu's hand just very lightly, gently grasping yours. He seems to be still asleep. Jal, I need you to give me a wisdom saving throw.
Whoop, there it is.
And this gets to be a straight roll because you're no longer exhausted.
Straight roll. So that's a 12.
Okay. You awaken the next morning, not in the Dwarven chambers. You're in your very own ring pocket dimension.
Well, that's not good. I didn't want to.
With the sword, you're lying on the ground, the sword at your feet, standing up in the same position that you left it. You hear the voice.
Now, listen here, you meddler. You and I are going to have a long conversation.
And that is where we're going to leave it for tonight.
Oh, you did not. Oh,
That's
no.
so cruel.
That's
It was
mean.
literally
That's
looking
meaner
at
than the sword.
the entire situation. I was like, I just have to avoid being in there with it because then it's going to have a chance to try to jump and get out or something. Nope, not going to go for it. And I had to fucking sleep, I guess.
I called it.
You did it to
I was like, he's
yourself.
worrying about Ivar. It's like, you got the fucking sword in your ring, son.
He'll be fine.
You got bigger fish to worry about.
You got bigger fish than the old man.
Thank you all for watching. Tune in next time for the Survivors of Ashcaleen, where we will find out what we find out. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.